It's Spoilerin time. Let me explain that to you. Cordkillers is another show we do. It's the companion show to this where we figure out how to watch things. And then we watch them and we come here and we talk about them. But when we talk about them, we want to spoil the details. So we called it Spoilerin time. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Hey, man. Dude, what are we going to dive in and enjoy?
Let's talk about Moon Knight, the Marvel series on Disney Plus. Episode 1, The Goldfish Problem, has come out. Now, Brian, I want to be upfront. I want to be transparent. My wife got screeners. I have seen 4 of the episodes of Moon Knight, but we're only going to talk about episode 1, where we meet we meet the English version of the character played by Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. I guess I'm less interested in talking about the specific character. I'll tell you this much. We did a little bit of eye rolling from the trailer with this overly thick British accent. If I didn't know who Oscar Isaac was, if I didn't know that this was a story of multiple personalities or whatever, I would have watched the entire thing and never noticed a thing. Bryce, is that overstating it?
I definitely noticed the accent. It was a little heavy for me, but I don't know a lot about English accents, and I like Oscar Isaac.
Was it Bryce? Was it Earl? Oh,
isn't it? Oi. Boy, this was a wild one because there were a lot of elements that we've seen in other action movies, comic book movies, adaptations, or whatever. Some of which I thought were very subtle and gave me a lot of respect as a viewer. For example, they eventually go back and let you know that this is not a surrealist dream, that he has sand all around his bed, or that he's not in trouble, that he's latched and locked to his bed. Probably should pick something other than painter's tape, because painter's tape is designed to not break but instead be easily removed. That's fine. But the point is, I felt deeply respected to just understand this is somebody who has a somnambulant condition and has found himself in the wrong place too many times and takes precautions. That was a very, very big plus mark. Then they had this cartoonish, Venom-esque voice say, "Oh, great, the idiot's in charge." And just in case I missed it, they had to come back again and say, "The idiot, who is definitely an idiot, is back in charge," instead of the cool, I don't know, whoever the other one is. I'm not saying it's multiple personality. "Oh, you're an idiot." I felt less respected as a viewer in that moment.
Really? Why did that not bother me at all? All I cared about was like, is that F. Murray Abraham? Which it was. But it felt like Venom, and I actually like Venom, the character. So I didn't even faze me.
It felt obnoxiously clumsy, and it was a discordant note hit after so much elegance.
Does this track, Brian? It's almost as if the show thinks you're stupid, and it doesn't let you put two and two together.
When you say that, you've just called me stupid.
Oh, no.
I'm saying the show is
sitting here going like, yeah, it didn't bother me at all. So am I stupid because it didn't bother me?
No. But also, you didn't need that. You would have connected the dots anyway. And to me, if I'm in the middle of connecting dots and then all of a sudden somebody shouts out the answer, I'm like, dude, I was getting it. Okay, fine.
Or is it introducing me to another element? Which is how I
wish it was a quieter element that wasn't.
But that's
so
not who the element's
shouty.
Personality is. Maybe I'm just trying to figure out why it didn't bother me. And to me, it was like, oh yeah, so there's that part of him that's talking.
It might be as simple as the sound setup. It might be that I had it at a different volume and it was grating and annoying. And as was with Venom, I found that far and away the most yank me out of the narrative part of Venom was, anyway, this is the conceit of the movie, and they were doing that again. I didn't care.
I kind of like Venom.
I didn't mind
maybe
the
it's a
voice. What I was very frustrated with the show was like, isn't Oscar Isaac's character supposed to be a human being? Isn't he supposed to be a thinking creature? Why doesn't he ask what's going on at any point? Why doesn't anybody just say, hey, you are a superhero at night. Just let me take over for a minute. You're going to be good. We could have saved 43 minutes if they hadn't spent an entire episode just describing the tagline of the show.
I actually had a really good time for the vast majority of those 43 minutes. However,
I felt so frustrated. That was just like, okay, obviously dramatic irony. I know what's going on because I'm a consumer watching this thing. At some point, he's going to do something to explore the space. Like, this is my issue with Raised by Wolves. Not a spoiler, but no one cares about figuring out the problems of these worlds in these stories, and it squeezes my head.
Without getting into Raised by Wolves, because man, what bothers you about this, about him not asking about the space? Because I totally get what you're saying, but on the other hand, I resolved it in my own head of like, he doesn't actually know what's going on. He just knows that when he comes to, there's evidence that he's walked around, so he's taking precautions, but there's no one to talk to. There's no one to ask. Unless you're saying it should come from the other direction.
Hello, I'm here on behalf of Bryce Castillo. I'll be answering this one on his behalf.
My lawyer's here, sorry, Tom. My hands are tied.
I'm pretty sure our client would like to submit into evidence a scene at a steak dinner house, at which point he is confused multiple times about what day it is. While holding a cell phone.
Yes.
Then places a phone call on the cell phone, in which case
he's an
somebody
absent-minded guy. That's certainly, that could be in character. In fact, it could be a telling detail of this guy doesn't.
Your Honor, it was a smartphone that would have the date displayed on it.
You know what? I would love it if they characterized him as someone who is like flighty or.
They did.
I think they did. I'm going to take Tom's side on this one. I think they.
I
like in the museum, the boss is coming down on him for being unreliable, for being late, for being flighty, for not concentrating on the right thing,
for trying to do a job that's not his because he finds it more interesting and stuff.
Right.
I guess
I'm now at the end of my crabby things to point out, and I really want to talk about all the things that are amazing about this. I think that I can't remember. I mean, outside of kind of this weird nod to Night at the Museum that they do, anything Egyptian themed that I've seen since Young Sherlock Holmes. That I'm excited to get back to this space. That is going to be a lot of fun. I thought my heart soared with what appeared to be actual on-location shoots in some amazing, gorgeous European place. And it's TV budget stuff, but that was a damn fine car chase. Coming to and realizing you're racing backwards in a cupcake truck, and and you've already established through a quick reaction.
Truck was a nice touch. I like that.
Well, and even it wasn't overbearing when he mutters, "I don't even have my license." That was enough to raise the stakes, but not so much that it felt like you were hitting me over the head with it. And Ethan Hawke, I think, is a incredibly interesting. I'm certain he will turn out to be a villain, but for right now, somebody who is proposing, all the best villains are people who sound pretty logical for the first 95%, and then you're like, whoa, buddy.
Did you think he was a good guy?
Nope. No. I think he's very much presented as a bad guy.
Yeah.
But then he starts talking, and you're like, well, that does make a little bit of sense. Go on. I want to hear more. I'm not agreeing, but...
but the best villains make sense.
Yes, I agree.
And Brian says, yes, if you're going to be an evil soul, you should die before you do your bad things. He's basically doing Thanos, but worse.
Well, no, because if you accept that this is an actual god who can see the whole picture, then, I mean, quite literally, this is what the plot of Loki was about. It was pruning the parts that don't belong, the parts that are going to damage the sacred timeline. And what if the sacred timeline was the one that was best for humanity or whatever?
I guess so, but also the theme of that show was that was a bad scheme. that was an immoral scheme. I don't know. I'm saying I mean your opinion's your opinion, so I'm not trying to change it. Just saying. I thought it was pretty clear when he said, "I'll just kill anyone who's ever going to be bad at some point, anytime."
That's not what he said, but
that is exactly what he said. He said, "The scales will. You may not be bad now, but you'll be bad eventually. So I'm going to kill you, old lady."
Free crime.
I mean, isn't that exactly what his scheme is? Or maybe I missed it.
I liked the setup and the punchline of the truck with all of the logs on it tumbling over, and then they show up later at just the right moment. I think the action set pieces are good, and I am in with the minor scratchiness. Got a little sand in these socks, but outside of that, I like it a lot.
The only sand in my socks in this episode was I wanted, and I'm not sure I deserved it, but I wanted more explanation of why he's suddenly switching. There didn't seem to be a reason why he was waking up now. It seemed like usually he just stays out, but somehow, for some reason, now the idiot came in charge. And I don't know if I literally don't know if we're going to get an explanation of that later. But I did want to know, like, okay, so he never woke up before. What changed?
Well, I have an answer to your previous question of the shouting of the idiot's in charge or whatever. Like, I feel like we could have gotten there. I understand that this is a third voice character, whatever, but I was much more into the mirror reflection of Mark Spector, is that his name? Talking to our main character. That was much more subtle and fun, and that had a lot of that corner of the eye moments that you're like, did I see that or whatever? That tickles my excitement a lot more than the other voice. But we'll see.
So far, it sounds like Brian is on the side of Moon right. And Bryce is on the side of Moon
good night.
Any other thoughts on Moon Knight 101?
No, but look, I will be the first to admit, boy, oh boy, did my first impression of Hawkeye differ from my last impression. So I'm certainly buckled in for this one. It seems like there's a lot of fun places this could go.
Indeed. That is Moon Knight, Season 1, Episode 1. Let's talk about Picard, Season 2, Episode 5, Fly Me to the Moon, in which we don't visit the moon. In fact, we don't even get off Earth. But everybody comes back together. We save people from the bus, and we shoot the Borg Queen, and now she's dead. Or is she? Nope, she's inside Agnes. The real Borg Queen was the one inside Agnes after she shot her.
Yes. Wow. Going in reverse order, I watched this one last night, and that's always a dangerous thing because, maybe I wasn't paying attention or whatever, but I woke up this morning, I was like, how did it end? How did it end? There was no, how did it end? And then I loaded it back up and looked again. I'm like, oh, that's right. There wasn't an ending. Like all they did was say the thing that we knew was going to be the case with Agnes and say, well, we might be about to be identified at a party. But considering that this whole series has been kind of I've likened it to a remix or a mashup of just all these weird ideas. I was a bit surprised when they reached all the way out of the Star Trek universe and started borrowing the plot of Gravity for a moment. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, it makes sense that in a training simulator, that would be one of the scenarios that they were running. Data's creator,
Soong.
Do the timelines match up? I thought he was...
This is an earlier Soong. This is an ancestor of Dr. Noonien Soong.
Okay.
He just happens to look exactly like Dr. Noonien Soong. Or the timelines don't match up, but it's one of the two.
Yeah, and his daughter, I guess, because
we were told it was Dr. Soong. We didn't get told first name.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of Q's commitment to the bit in a world where, like they established last episode, that he can't snap things into existence for some reason briefly. So instead, he's pulling a long con of undermining the emotional security of one of Picard's ancestors. That's a lot of work.
Is that going to get him his power back? I mean, because I'm totally on board with like, oh, he doesn't have his power, so he has to do something else.
I guess.
But I was like, the extension cords didn't quite match up for me on that.
And the supervisor looks like the Romulan BFF. Why?
Yeah, but she's not Romulan. She's a human.
Right. But she looks like her. Why?
Or does she just look human?
Well, I mean, she's some kind of supernatural something or other. But
yeah. So is she trying to look like someone Picard trusts but couldn't pull off Romulan?
No. Well, they established that like day by day she's guarding for 24 years this one person's life. So
the Picard ancestor, I know, but
correct.
But like, does she appear to Jean-Luc to look like the Romulan because she knows that he'd trust her?
Except she doesn't know who he is or have any interest in him.
By the way, IMDb says that Brent Spiner is playing Adam Soong. So that is, in fact, an ancestor to Noonien Soong.
Okay. I understand all the practical reasons why you would just cast Brent Spiner for that.
Sure.
I think I'd like it just a little bit better if you gave him a fake nose or something. Like, just make him just ever so slightly different.
Make him look more different than just older.
Yeah.
That was confusing. It doesn't bug me, but it was confusing, right?
Yeah.
There was no tip off other than the timeline that we were seeing.
And also they only call him Dr. Soong and
that's not the end of the world, but it's a little sand in the gears. And then they invade a party.
They don't even get to the part where they invaded the party. They announce they're going to invade a party. They send one person in and they say, "Uh-oh, facial recognition, am I right?" And then credits rolled.
Agnes.
Yeah, but again, I think we all saw that coming. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Sometimes you gotta. The beat can't always be dropping. Sometimes you need a full episode of da 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 da.
I'll be honest. I really do enjoy the Picard fun that we've had, seeing people do different things. There were some good moments in this, but this is probably the least fun of the episodes.
One very good moment was the wrapping it up of the ice, the immigration. Yay, we got back Rios.
The bus attack was pretty good. You got Rios back. That's true. I agree with that. Any other thoughts on Picard 205?
No, I understand they tend to go in acts on Picard, and so we're starting the next act, and I just wish they'd start the next act.
Let's talk about Miami Vice, Season 3, Episode 4, Walk Alone, starring not only Larry Fishburne, but also Ron Perlman made an appearance in this one as well.
Yeah, dude, that was a surprise.
Yeah, that was a little bonus. That was not noted on my Wikipedia entry for this, so that was fun.
This, number one, I was so thankful to get a solo adventure from Tubbs.
Oh, me too. That was my first note on this. Good for Tubbs. They'll finally get a Tubbs episode.
A little bit of cheesy and prison verisimilitude lacking, notwithstanding, this might be a top 5 all-time Miami Vice episode. It was very, very good. I liked it a lot.
I would agree with you with 2 notes. First of all, when Lawrence Fishburne showed up on screen, his first line, I was like, damn, he was Lawrence Fishburne right from the beginning. Then his second line, I was like, oh, but he was inconsistent.
Also, so skinny. So skinny. He's so tiny.
Yeah, for sure. That too. And then the ending shootout where the cops just start shooting prison guards. I mean, in Miami Vice terms, it wasn't that far out there, but it was kind of silly.
Did you see the the recording of the screen that I sent you?
The jump cut?
Is it the jump cut that Yes.
Like, what they meant to convey was that Tubbs hops out from around a corner and attacks a guy.
I don't think they conveyed that.
They did their best to convey that by showing a single shot in which suddenly appearing out of nowhere, like quite literally one frame mid-jump, as if he's a ghost materializing, is Tubbs attacking. There was another moment I noticed where you could tell that they needed like 5 more seconds of visuals so that the off-screen dialogue could be more clear, and they didn't have it, so they just slowed down the existing footage they had, and it's like just out of nowhere for some reason Edward James Olmos is just moving like he's in a dream.
It's kind of crazy to think how much quality control has improved.
Like this episode, and this is our second episode of season 3 that we've watched, but looks very different from season 1 and season 2. And also, I don't know if it's because of Peacock or the way that it was shot, but it looks higher fidelity than early episodes. Like whether they shot it on film and transferred it or something, but it looked different enough that I started watching it and thought, is this the same show? Wow.
Shouts out to all the man meat in this episode.
A lot of men, some big angles on this one. Whew.
Also, did it seem convoluted that he had to get arrested for toll evasion?
I know.
For what?
For toll evasion. For
evasion.
Is that what?
Like,
not
what
the.
We'll
I just figured
we'll plant an arrest warrant, but you just don't pay a toll, and then you'll get pulled over.
Oh, I
and
figured
then they'll bring
he
you
was
in.
speeding. Like here in the state of Texas, this may no longer be the case, but there was a time where anything up till 25 miles over the speed limit, it was for the discretion of the police officer who pulled you over to give you a ticket or whatever. But over 25 miles an hour, you get arrested, full stop. And
that is not what happened here.
Okay, so
he definitely runs through. I mean, he does
clearly
speed.
showed him,
I did
like,
see him
"Need
go
to stop
through a
for that
toll, but I assume he was
Turn
also
on the sirens.
But I assume he was also doing 100 miles an hour and refusing to pull over when
Whether
asked.
he was or not, in the previous thing, they said, okay, we'll plant this in your records so that when you get arrested, they'll see it and have to take you in.
Even a parking ticket, they'll send you to jail.
Exactly.
Well, I did not perceive in the story they were telling that he was arrested for toll evasion. I perceive it was the flagrant refusal to.
I suppose you're right. He's pulled over for toll evasion, and then the planted record is why he's arrested.
No, he's probably pulled over for speeding and refusing to pull over for a cop.
I don't know.
They didn't even have their lights on. They didn't even have their lights on, though, I will say. It was very weird they didn't do lights.
They did have lights on.
Anyway,
Florida, rough.
Certainly didn't ruin the episode.
That's not the bad part of the episode. God, that shootout at the end. I was so excited about this episode. It was great, but the end shootout.
I actually watched Bryce watch the ending of this. And I saw his faith in this episode fall apart.
I was with Tom. I was like, oh, this episode's pretty good. I just got the last 10 minutes or so. And he's like, oh, okay. You got the end still. Hold on. It's very the tower guard murking a guy with an AK-47.
Okay. He murks him with an automatic rifle, and the alarm bells go off. To my understanding, when a prison goes in lockdown, everybody lays down on the ground and puts their hands over there. Not in this prison. In this prison, it's just like, whoa.
Let's run.
Class is about to start.
Stand around and watch.
Who are they going to shoot today?
Having said all that, I do think, again, I'm thinking in 80s television mode. Boom. First thing you see, lots of skin, making out, lots of that. But it's not just gratuitous. It's for a purpose so that you actually understand, oh, Tubbs is clearly, in love right now and has something taken away from him. I do believe he would do something self-harming and masochistic by volunteering for this assignment. That's a tough way to navigate in a way that I believe, but I believed it. Didn't believe the end shootout. But the end shootout, they're all like, and something, we get to credits, right?
Yeah.
I think it should not be lost on us that a male strip club in the mid 80s, not a normal primetime plot device.
Yep.
So that was interesting.
Also, shouts out to playing Run DMC's Walk This Way and pretending like it's a live performance with the guy behind drums.
Wait, that wasn't Run DMC.
No, it turns out that white drummer was not Run DMC.
Okay, I wasn't familiar with the drummer. That is, man. You know what? These are fun. You got to admit. And we should give Larry Fishburne his due. He definitely had moments of Fishburne brilliance that we would come to know and love later, mixed in with other moments.
He certainly outshone. It was one of those moments where, you know, the lieutenant outshines the general because they set up I can't tell you a single thing about the big bad guy outside of he looks just like the nerd they killed at the beginning. But Larry Fishburne,
Mr.
as he is
Pink.
credited.
Mr. Pink.
Wow. I wonder if that's directly where Quentin Tarantino got that for Reservoir Dogs, because he is known to be inspired by things he's seen, and he would be the right age to have seen this episode.
I thought, what a great name.
Yeah. Wild.
Mm-hmm. Well, folks, that is Miami Vice Walk Alone with guest stars Ron Perlman and Larry, a.k.a. Lawrence Fishburne. Next week, we will be doing a season summary. We're going to be doing these more often to be able to fit in shows that we can't get to week for whatever reason. So we're going to be talking about Severance. If you're caught up on Severance or you get caught up by next week, we'll be talking about the entire season 1. We'll also be talking about Moon Knight 102 and Picard 206. Don't forget, Founders Day is this week at the Brian Brushwood compound. I will be around for that. If you're coming into town, say hi. And will not be sticking around for Cordkillers for various reasons. So I'll be back here for Cordkillers next week. I will hopefully see you in Austin. If not, see you here for Cordkillers next time, and we'll spoil you then.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.